I made a series of videos that blended magic tricks with CGI camera tricks. Now don't get me wrong, as a magician the tricks I do are proper magic tricks, but on video you can just do a whole lot more. So we're going to break down these videos, show you how they were put together and ask the question, can you spot the difference? Because you're about to see both CGI and sleight of hand magic, but can you tell which is which? There's no room for any sort of error, practically no opportunity for misdirection. See, I can try and distract you from watching this magic trick as much as I want, but at the end of the day, there's nothing stopping you rewinding and watching it as many times as you want until you figure out how the trick's done. And it's the person behind the camera that has to make sure the method can't be worked out, no matter how many times the viewer watches it.
That one is so much more than what meets the eye there.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. We're going to be looking at clips from 4 different videos, each with a different blend of CGI and magic. Tricks with portals, tricks that play with time, and you know, just some good old school sleight of hand tricks too. Alright, let's break down the first clip. The hand in the iPad flicks one of the coins out and then 3 come out the side.
Which looks phenomenal.
Jamie's helped out with a lot of this stuff, and Jamie, on this particular sequence, you were, well, probably where you are now.
Yeah. Sorry, where I am now.
Yeah. And you were the one that was flicking, well, you weren't even flicking, you were tossing the coin up. And then you were trying to, in time, chuck the 3 out. But obviously the video on the iPad is already playing. That honestly, for I think it was 6 or 7 seconds of footage, it took about 2 or 3 hours to film it. You watch the coin matrix without getting distracted by any of the pulling into the iPad or pulling out.
Okay.
It's still a good trick that stands the test of being able to rewind back and watch it
completely.
Again. So that was like the first issue, so like, right, there's your sleight of hand. So this whole thing now, you've got 2 hands, one of the hands comes out of the iPad and starts chucking coins into the iPad. There's no CGI there.
No, that's what I was just looking, I'm like, is there anything that's been faked on here? But I actually think it's just layers of video put over the top to make one big video.
Exactly, but again, it's all about the timing there.
Because I would have been tempted to say the iPad was moving and it looked
the iPad is fake, yeah. So
is it?
I had a green screen with like tracker dots. So I've tracked that image onto there. That way when you pull out, and it's quite a funny moment I think when you first pull out and the 3rd hand comes up.
Yes.
There's so much to be looking at. By the way, these videos that we're watching and we're breaking down, these are all past videos on my channel, but this is the first time that I'm breaking it down properly. And in some cases, I'd actually say that the method behind the trick is better than the effect. For example, there's a sequence at the start of the video where we're chucking stuff in and out of the screens. The line is getting more and more blurry between an actual trick and, say, a camera trick. See, the future of magic could be quite weird. VR will soon start to dominate the internet, and us magicians, we've got to adapt into this new world. It's all about being aware of what's coming. That particular sequence was filmed in reverse, so where you see a Rubik's Cube coming here, me mixing it up, and it falling up, what was actually filmed was Jamie on the stepladder, dropping the Rubik's Cube, I then solve the Rubik's Cube, and chuck it across. But when it's done in reverse, and obviously a lot of this requires a lot of storyboarding and planning because you wouldn't be able to do any of this video without properly planning it.
Every step needed to be where I was dropping exactly how you were catching, where you'd be looking.
Which, this whole reverse thing, by the way, is a concept that started way back. I filmed an entire routine in reverse. No, these illusions can be more than that. More than just a display of skill. And although that's still impressive, what is more impressive is to elicit a genuine experience of wonder, a genuine experience of awe.
This must have taken forever though to actually film.
A full day of filming.
Crazy.
And weeks, I think about 6 weeks of practice. So this, right, the dice stacking, now think how silly this is.
You've stacked it and you have to what you're doing there's just
shaking
it.
Yeah. It's just a lot of the work was in the planning. Right, look at, did you notice that? A little subtlety there?
Yeah.
The way you chuck the cup up. I'll tell you what, we're going to show a little breakdown. This was in a Patreon episode of what actually goes into filming something in reverse. There is ways and means of making stuff look natural when played in reverse. For example, if I were to toss up the Rubik's Cube like that, if I now play that in reverse, it's going to look a bit weird. Watch this. You see how it looks like the Rubik's Cube just jumps out of my hand and it has its own energy? Well, if I now toss it up and I catch it and I bring my hand down, it now looks like the Rubik's Cube is propelled because of me and not because of itself, if that makes sense. So there's ways and means of doing stuff in reverse that can make it look like it's more of a natural movement. For the first half, you don't actually know it's been filmed in reverse. And then it's the big reveal of this whole thing was filmed in reverse. And the way that the reveal works is by clicking your fingers and then the sand timer starts going up.
That's an amazing, that's lovely.
And then the whole video plays out of like, now you know it's filmed in reverse, it can't then make sense to like make chocolate into a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, no, yeah, because it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's just done chocolate into a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
No.
I love how the smoke pulls away. Is that real smoke?
Yeah, real smoke.
Oh.
But I was worried at the start that that would give away that it's in reverse, but you don't really notice it till the end.
I thought you could have CGI'd that smoke.
And then that one is like a trick that works no matter what.
That's not CGI?
No.
I thought you paused and...
The only camera trickery on this particular video is that it was done in reverse. Everything else that you see in the camera frame is...
like that.
Yeah. So going back to the original video, I solve it or mix it up, can't remember, and then I chuck it. But it needs to look like when it's in reverse, I catch it.
I don't remember doing like any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite nice for me to watch again. Being like, where's the channel come in the last 12 months?
Yeah, because a lot of this is like, and you know, this is quite a nice thing for now. We've got 100,000 subscribers.
Say that again.
100,000 subscribers. Can't thank you all enough. Amazing. But a lot of you probably haven't seen these past videos, so we're kind of looking back at the history of the channel in a way, which is a nice,
really nice
thing, isn't it? When I was chucking stuff in and out of the screens, a lot of the time actually it wasn't me chucking it, it was you, and we had a lot of fun with that. So all this chucking stuff in and out of screens, that's kind of the first time that you did it, but this was kind of inspired from a while ago. I did a video. For 25 days straight, I performed a magic trick and released it on social media every day. But what they didn't realise is that each video formed part of a larger routine greater than the sum of its parts. 25 tricks that'll blow your mind, but the way they are linked might just be the best bit. Next trick uses that. Bang. Into the third screen, and then chuck back into the second one. Right, this is a trick.
No way, that must have been CGI on the second guy. Did you just let it go past you?
Let it go past me. So it was literally stand,
but you had to film one, then stop, and then film that, let it go past, then stop, and someone else chuck it again.
Yes.
Who was with you on that one?
Paul and Stan, either side.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. Spinning the phone on your
Very
finger,
cool.
and then by accident... Never actually drop your phone, it's brilliant. Jesus Christ. Sorry, mate. Tomorrow's trick. And then... shot glass. Right, 3 coins in it. So you're getting more complicated now because you're dropping 2 things down at the next screen.
Oh.
It's ridiculously time consuming. But it was worth it, it got nearly 3,000 views. So we're pulling out to day 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
Together. Go check out my Patreon, I've just set it up. I'll leave a link. There's one, and more. I'll leave a link in the description and then the box as well. And subscribe. Will you sod off? Jesus wept.
Really nice.
And that was literally Stan being the one that's watching the video. So he watches this day 21 and he's chucking it at the same time.
Now they actually have a harder job than I had.
Yeah, possibly.
Damn.
So Stan gets all the credit there. So all this stuff works great for video, but there was one project I did that was like this, but live for an audience. You being one of the audience members. Starts making this ring appear like that, right? Airwax, ball, and the deck.
That is really good. That's almost too good.
I don't like my old self.
I don't like your current self. So this is like a live video call, making a portal appear on a Zoom call.
Such a good concept.
So now we're chucking in 3 things at once.
And you got us to choose the order.
Yeah.
That's the part that made it for me, because it was like, choose whichever one you want.
Yeah. Airwax, ball, and the deck. And then the big finish to this was making 2 portals, top and below, dropping something in, and it just dropping forever. Yeah, it's cool.
Super cool.
So obviously how this works, it's not obvious. In fact, a lot of magicians didn't know how this worked.
No, like it's not been done before like this.
It's pretty new, isn't it? So this is going to be what they see on the webcam. Now, if we put an overlay on top of this that contours on the edges of the studio and the top of the desk, then we've now got this. Right, so it's now hidden. So let's put another overlay on. Let's put the green screen portal on top of that. We've now got this. Now obviously there's a slight discrepancy because if I put my hand into it, my hand goes behind both rings, but it should go in front of one, shouldn't it? But when you throw something, that slight discrepancy soon goes out the window, you can't tell. Paul and Stan either side, depending on what we were doing. Again, Stan on a stepladder. And there was little subtleties that helped sell it. So like when the portal appears, the light gets turned on.
Yes.
So it shines the light on the face. And then you've got like the little spark just to sell that it's a real thing. The hardest bit was dropping the tennis balls one by one. But that was literally standing on the top of a stepladder with a bucket of tennis balls, just dropping them in.
Just crazy.
But the outcome looks really nice, doesn't it?
It's just perfect.
So it's kind of like the perfect blend, a little bit like the mirror illusion on the do you remember the mirror one?
Love it.
What I'm trying to say is when you're watching a magician on video, the cameraman at that point is essentially the magician's assistant. Not that I'm the cameraman, by the way, this is just for taking photos. I don't know who's filming it, to be honest. This is a bit weird. This isn't even a phone, this is just an empty shell. And the mirror, this isn't a real mirror. This is all done with a green screen. And you're watching this through another screen. This mirror phone thing was actually inspired by a random reel that I came across on Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he kind of breaks it down. And I was like, oh, right, that's quite cool.
That is
I wonder
really
if you
cool.
can combine a trick with a phone with it. So, picture of the blank studio, because that's where the mirror thing's going to be.
Yeah.
Picture of reverse of that, so this is the garage.
See, this is what I don't get, because you put it over this, didn't you?
Yeah. I then filmed my bit with the trick.
On a different wall.
Yeah, against the green screen, because then I can take that footage and pop it in front of this wall to then put on that wall.
I don't know how you work through that process. Like, explain that to anyone. They'll be like, what are you smoking?
You've got that, and that's kind of like, don't quite look right for some reason.
Yeah.
But then you make sure that the phone's in the middle of the frame the whole time. That sells the idea that the phone's recording it.
Love it.
But then you've got this added element, because it's filmed on a green screen, I can put my hand out, and it pops out of the frame of the mirror. Yeah.
Yes, because you're not actually
You're
tied
not actually,
to a
yeah.
mirror.
So when I mentioned at the start, can you spot the CGI or the sleight of hand? This particular mirror thing, that's like the perfect embodiment of everything, and it's all thrown in there. By the way, these Patreon videos that we've been showing, all these breakdowns, I've got a full 7-episode series of how I made that particular video. Go check out Patreon. It's for the price of a fancy coffee a month.
Stop it. He wants your money, £3. Love it.
Get on it. And he's in a lot of them as well, so he loves it.
And I still pay for it even though I help him.